On this episode of the NWA 1984 Project, wrestlers spotlight the Road Warriors and Playboy Buddy Rose, Hulk Hogan back in the WWE, Hardy Boy documentary, and Ring of Honor is back on MSG. And away we go. Welcome back to the NWA 1984 Project. I'm your host, Juan Cena, and with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm even more heated now.
Yes, technical difficulties, as always. Can't get away from those. On this episode will be another TV taping for our ESPN show. So this will be live from Los Angeles. Main event of this show, you will see Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen take on the Nightmares. That's going to be wonderful. We're also going to have a wrestler spotlight on the Road Warriors and Buddy Rose. But we're going to start out talking about Hulk Hogan. In the last couple of days, Hulk Hogan has returned to the WWE. He is reinstated into the Hall of Fame, and some people are happy about this. Some people are up in arms about this. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Hulk Hogan's return?
Well, on the one hand, you want to say everyone deserves a second chance. But I also feel that it's about timing. And I do think that we won't see him on TV for some time. And when we do, it'll be a complete surprise. It'll be one of those Royal Rumble type moments where it's out of the blue he shows up. Because if you give people a heads up, there are going to be some signs. There are going to be some bad signs.
I agree. I agree with the fact of not putting him on TV right away. Let everyone kind of digest this for a moment.
Yeah.
And maybe they're hoping that some of the outrage would die down in a couple of months when they bring him back on TV. If they bring him back at all. You don't know if they'll even use him. We'll just see what happens. But, you know, the WWE is just interested in getting that licensing money, of course. You know, they want to sell Hulk Hogan t-shirts. They want to put him back in the video game. That's all really important for the company because, you know, he's still, no matter what anyone says, he's still money. You know what I mean? He's still a bankable star. But for me, now, I'm of the opinion that people who hated Hogan before, this just gives them another reason not to like him.
Sure.
And then the people who love him, or big-time Hulkamaniacs, are more apt to giving him a second chance. And then you have the people in the middle. Now, the people in the middle are essentially waiting for him to do something. Over the last couple of years, since he's been out of the limelight, has he done anything to kind of fix or rehab his reputation? I don't think he's done a whole lot, to be completely honest. And even some of the statements that he's made, he hasn't really apologized for being racist. He's more like, I apologize for what I said. The question is out there, is Hulk Hogan a racist? And to me, I'm like, I don't know. Only the people closest to him will really know for sure.
Well, let's say this too. What happened? What stands out most to you as far as what happened to make him kind of lose everything?
Well, I think he was in a super bad place. His wife just left him. His son was in jail. You know, he was in a really dark place at that time. And I think people who use that word are often people who feel powerless, and they use that to feel powerful again because, you know, that word is very powerful. Now, for me, being around people, I know this for a fact, that, you know, white people, Caucasian people, have a really hard time saying that word. Now, the people who don't have a hard time using that word use that word all the time. It's like someone who is trying not to curse. You may have a curse jar or whatever. Every once in a while, it's going to slip out. So from my vantage point, it looked like Hulk Hogan probably said this word a whole bunch of times. You know what I mean? That it was, you know, in his common vocabulary. Now, you can say that he was in a dark place. Yeah, dude, I understand that. I understand that you should it was on a weird sex tape thing. But there's also audio of him talking to his son in jail that he said some racist stuff on there as well. So it's like something that he's saying at the time because he felt powerless and he felt in a dark place, or is this the real Terry Bollea saying this? So, and I know in wrestling itself, it's hard to distinguish the person from the character. Now, I'm still a Hulkamaniac. I love Hulk Hogan, right? But I also understand that there's Hulk Hogan, the character that I see on TV, and there's Terry Bollea, the man.
Right.
And was it Hulk Hogan who was doing all those charity works, those Make-A-Wishes, visiting soldiers, on army bases that were hurt, the USO stuff? Was that Hulk Hogan, the character, doing that, or was that Terry Bollea, the person, doing that?
Right.
And that's where it comes kind of tricky in wrestling. Because he's done so much good. That's something you can't really take away from him, is all the charity works he's done. Like, unlike someone like Roseanne, or Papa John, who essentially got in trouble for the same exact thing, I don't think they've been closely tied to any kind of charity organizations or done any positive works. Now, Hulk Hogan recently got an award from the Boys and Girls Club for all his efforts. But is there something more that he can do? I'm not black. You know what I mean? I can't answer those questions.
Yeah.
I can't tell someone not to shun him. I can't tell someone not to cheer for him. I can't tell someone that it's not okay to not like him. Everyone, that's a personal decision that everyone has to make. Now, New Day made a statement. So, Matt, what was in New Day's statement?
Well, I'll paraphrase, but essentially they came out and said that they understand why he's getting a second chance. It's not their call. They're not here to argue about it. They just said that from their perspective, they want nothing to do with him until they see a legit, contrite, And I don't know what he said in his apology.
I'm sure they filmed it.
Right, but I do think that, when you were a kid and you're like, well, say you're sorry, and it was never, or you say you're sorry to get out of trouble, it was never a legit apology, Yeah. And I think they probably saw that as it. And that's the thing, too, is people, especially in today's climate where racism is just being called out so much more than it ever was, especially with social media. Yeah. There's no escaping. I mean, every day I feel like we see some guy at a store, and the guy who's doing, flexing his racist muscles.
Someone calling the cops on a black person at a barbecue or a Starbucks or what have you. We see some girl selling lemonade getting the cops called on her, that kind of shit. It was like, wow.
There was a guy who called the cops because he had hit a hard foul in basketball.
I saw that. That's ridiculous.
Like, it's getting to a point where you're not going to, and what's going to have to happen is those people are going to have to start realizing we can't get away with that. And until that happens, you're going to keep seeing these kind of things happen.
Right.
So with Hogan, I think what they see as a guy who's trying to save his power. He's an older guy, obviously. He wants, Kevin.
He doesn't need the money either. He's not doing this for money. He can live on an island and not talk to anyone ever again and be fine. I mean, that Gawker deal was in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right. And I think he sees his reputation, his legacy.
That's what's important. That's what he's trying to fix. It's not about money for him. And
here's the thing. He could turn this into one of the most powerful lessons and teaching tools.
I mean, I'm sure they floated the idea past all their sponsors to make sure it was cool. Would it be Snickers? Remember they had the name change on the Moolah Battle Royal. So I'm sure they did the due diligence to make sure that all their TV people, they made sure that, the Fox deal, and they made sure that everyone was on board with this before bringing him back.
Right.
But that being said, it's like you look at someone like, you move over a step and you look at someone like Warrior, who said some of the most horrific stuff that I almost argue that the Warrior stuff is worse than Hogan.
Oh.
If you have a chance to listen to that audio.
Yeah, he's... the more you hear, the more it's like... that's the thing, too, is,
And they named the award after him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he said, some crazy stuff. And that intentionally. It wasn't caught on a tape. It wasn't him in a corner. No. This is him in front of his computer, with the camera on him saying this fucking wild shit.
Right.
But he was able to get a pass by that?
Yeah.
Really weird. Really weird. I mean, there's always going to be... Professional wrestling is full of shitty people.
Oh,
we know this. We've heard all the stories. We know them all too well. So you know that they're in there, but it comes to a point where, and we'll see this with actors and what have you. If you have an actor that's like one of your favorite actors, and he says something wild on social media, or he has a political affiliation that you don't agree with, like, do you stop watching his movies, or can you just appreciate the fact that he's an actor?
Right. I'll give you an example. I think it ranges by how much what they say or do or promote impacts others. So, for example, I'm not religious, and I don't respect the Scientology. All right.
Right.
But I go see Tom Cruise movies because I like the movies. They're usually pretty good.
But even like Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson says some wild stuff that they caught him on tape too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Did you stop watching Lethal Weapon because he said wild stuff?
Right, and I think that's like with Roseanne Barr, there was a history there of her saying crazy, bizarre things,
right,
and promoting conspiracies and all this. I just think with Hogan, it's a matter of how sincere he is. But I do think for a lot of people, you have to have the chance for redemption. Otherwise, what point is there in it? You know,
right?
They have to show they learn.
Like, how can anyone come back from that? Like, there's going to be a time where there's going to be, like, racist people who make a conscious choice to say, I'm no longer want to be racist. The question becomes, if someone, decides they don't want to be racist anymore and they're going to make an effort to change, it's like, how do we welcome those people back into society? We have to.
Right.
There has to be a conscious effort to re-educate some of these people and bring them back into the fold, because you can't just have... That's how bad shit fucking happens, when you shun these people completely. Then they get into little groups, and that's how little militias start, and that's how things happen. The one thing that makes me sad, personally, when it comes to the Hogan case, is that a lot of, I guess we call them white nationalists, feel that this is a win for them.
Right.
Him coming back. And they're using that as like, well, if Hogan coming back after saying, racist shit, that anyone could come back, and we like Hogan now more because we know he's racist, right? So the white nationalists, I find, are like gravitating towards him, and he needs to do something to make sure that he's not associated with those people at all. Because I see it on social media, a lot of the white nationalist people, find this as a huge win for them.
Right.
That casual racism is okay. I explained to someone why it's not okay to say that word. They still don't understand. It's like, why can't I say it?
Right.
Then you're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. You have to conform. Everyone has to conform to society's rules. Society's rules are ever changing. So you got to make sure that you're in the forefront of the way the society thinks. The question becomes, if Hogan would have said the same thing in 1990, would he have gotten the same amount of trouble? I think he would have. I absolutely think he would have. In 1980, it's not a time thing, because what he said was so egregious. That wasn't casual racism. That wasn't making a joke. That wasn't having a stereotype. That was just... If that tape would have came out at any other time throughout history, he would be in the same amount of trouble that he is now. That doesn't change anything. People often say it's like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that on TV nowadays. No, motherfucker, you couldn't do that shit on TV back in the day either. You're able to slide some shit in, but let's not forget how television was. I think there's a thought that TV was pushing boundaries and shit, but if you watch TV during the 80s, and the WWE had problems with the parents groups and the teachers groups. There was a lot of that shit going on. A lot of these committees that were like trying to protect children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was a brief time in the late 90s where you can get away with more. And that was only a brief time. I would say 97 to 2001. That's when we saw like NYPD Blue, like the first time you saw an ass on television, on network TV. The first time, those were big things. The first time someone used the word bitch on TV.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can get away with more on television. You just can't do fucking goofy racist stuff. We look at a show like All in the Family, but people don't understand the dynamic of that show. Archie Bunker was an idiot. You know what I mean? He was a racist idiot that they made fun of. You know what I mean?
Right.
He wasn't saying just wow. Like, watch the whole show. Understand the show. Because you have old school Archie Bunker, and then you got his son-in-law, who is very, liberal and and very PC, and the show was them clashing. And at the end of the day, Archie would probably relent. You know, they did the reverse thing with the Jefferson. Mr. Jefferson was mad racist.
Right.
But he was the butt of the joke. And I don't think people understand the dynamics of that on television. And they think, like, oh, you could have got away with a lot more back in the day. It's like, no, you couldn't. It all depends on the strength of the parents groups out there. You know, if they were strong for that particular time. They tried to get WWE banned all the fucking time through the 90s. They failed. Right to Censor was WWE making fun of those groups. You don't see those groups today. They're gone. And wrestling itself is in this weird thing where they can't get away with stuff that other television shows can because the wrestlers are really them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, you can't have Dolph Ziggler come out and be a racist. You know what I mean? You can't. In any other show, you can have a bad guy who's racist, right? But in wrestling, you can't do that because wrestling is really them. And it's such a weird. Everyone knows that it's scripted and it's a performance, but there's always kind of a limit of what you can do because it's really them. Most of the wrestlers portray their character 24 hours a day. So, like, you can't have someone come out in a KKK outfit, right?
Right.
You can't. But like, you know, on Law and Order, you can have them be arrested, and you can have these people on these shows and do that kind of stuff. But you can't do that in wrestling. It's a really weird dynamic, and that's why I think they have narrative problems with the writing of the wrestling because it's such a weird place for them. Next up, I want to take a couple of minutes out to talk about Masa Saito.
Fans, I, like you, have been waiting anxiously over the past 7 days for word from Jesse the Body Ventura out of San Diego, California. Last week, you told us you were going to have some news that would knock, so to speak, the wrestling world on its ear.
Tell me something, Mean Gene. You really and truly been waiting 7 days, right?
Indeed.
Well, I got the news to knock wrestling back, to knock it forward, to do everything to it. The AWA, get ready, because when Jesse the Body speaks, people listen. I'm kind of like E.F. Hutton, you know. But now, about 2 years ago, I was over wrestling in Japan. And I saw a guy in Japan, now mind you, this is 2 years ago, that I looked at this dude and I thought, man, what would happen if Jesse the Body Ventura and this man were to become one, were to become a tag team? What you got to say?
You have got my curiosity up, Jesse Ventura.
Curiosity. I know Mean Gene, and I know all the people out there you're thinking right now. Is it the return of Adrian Adonis and the East-West connection? No, it's not. It's a man who is so devastating. What? If there's anything I lack in wrestling, this man makes up for it. If there's anything he lacks, I make up for it. Are you ready, Mean Gene?
I'll tell you, let's get on with I want to find out who it is.
Let's get out, Mean Gene. Come on out here, my new partner.
You have got to be kidding me.
Saito.
Your new partner, I cannot believe it. Just when did all of this take place?
Oh, I'm very, very happy. Because he's a tough man. Look at that body. Big arms, big chest, strong body. We are a good team. Beshi-san, I'm so happy to you. I could present to you this expensive one Japanese kimono. Let must be you like it.
Look at this, the presentation of that all-silk smoking jacket.
No, it's a kimono, not smoking jacket.
Kimono.
Look at that.
Look at this. Gentlemen, I'm sorry we are running short on...
We're not running short of time. I'm going to show you real quick, Mean Gene, the power of Mr. Saito.
All right. Japanese power.
Yeah.
What in the world, gentlemen? What is this? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Look in my head. One thing.
Oh, look at... Now, what is that?
Looks like a Japanese wrestler.
Look.
It's tough. Just like a Japanese wrestler, but Mr. Saito #1. Broken next one.
Mr. Saito, or I like to call him Mr. Torture, recently passed away. He had Parkinson's disease. I think he is one of, 10 wrestlers, to me, that are recognizable to an American audience because of the amount of time he spent here. Like he spent a lot of time in like the NWA, spent a lot of time in WWF, and spent a tremendous amount of time in the AWA, almost 7 years. And I think the first time I saw him was on like a WCW pay-per-view. I think it was Starrcade 90, where he's teaming with the Great Muta at the fucking the tag team tournament. You know what I mean? Like he's a badass wrestler. He's like built like a brick house. Yeah, he's ridiculous. He was so jacked, and he had the Saito suplex, and he was a great villain. In the AWA, he's fantastic.
Oh, I love the Wallace, if you saw, was the footage of him throwing salt in Hogan's eye and giving an award.
Applause! Hulk Hogan! Hulk! Come on back if you would. Hulk Hogan, our camera's here. Hulk, you're here with us at this time, and I'd like to know, quite candidly, does this mean you're back in the AWA?
You know something, Gene? Everybody flew me. The AWA flew me here for the special presentation because of what happened in Tokyo, Japan. And I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see all my people here. But, like I said, Mean Gene, I will not change my mind. I will not come back and wrestle here in the AWA.
Well, now, Hulk Hogan, a lot of people have been asking me if and when you would come on back to finish the mission, so to speak, and someday become the world's heavyweight champion.
You know something, Mean Gene? Everybody knows how I feel, and everybody knows I'm a man of my word, and there's no way I will come back, but I will ruin Mr. Boswell's life. I will follow him to the ends of the earth, and I'm going to drive him crazy.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Now for the special presentation from the Japanese Wrestling Federation and Mr. Saito to the incredible Hulk Hogan. First the flowers, and then the trophy. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. All right. How about a big hand? That presentation to the incredible Hulk Hogan. Thank you.
To see the incredible Hulk Hogan receiving the trophy and the flowers from Mr. Saito for the championship he won in Tokyo, Japan. And now, suddenly, Mr. Saito and Rock and Roll Zumhoff is in the ring. Mr. Saito throws the light heavyweight champion of the world out of the ring. Mr. Saito takes off his kimono, and he is now going to go after the incredible Hulk Hogan again. Oh, no! No! We have got to get this thing stopped here. Mr. Saito has gone wild in the ring with the incredible Hulk Hogan. In comes Greg Gagne. In comes Ricky Martel. Brad Ryan is in there. Oh, my heavens, what in the world has happened here? Mr. Saito taking a bow for all of this. Oh, no. Wally Carbo tells him out, out, out. As you can see, the incredible Hulk Hogan, a mass of blood in the ring. Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Martel, Reingens, and Gagne. And the Clawmaster, Baron von Raschke, all in the ring. Of the...
Candy Pie, you saw what happened. Of course, I don't know what could possibly come over a man like Mr. Saito to do what he did.
Well,
here.
As far as I'm concerned, Hulk Hogan got exactly what he deserves. You know, he's won the championship of Japan. He's been gloating about his big victory over Inoki. It just shows you how tough he is.
Get me Mr. Saito. Get me Mr. Saito, ladies and gentlemen. Get me Mr. Saito. Saito, please. Wally Carbo, it is all broken loose in the studio. People, just the look of disbelief on so many faces. Ladies and gentlemen, we will keep you apprised of the condition of the incredible Hulk.
Yeah, the trophy.
Launch a feud, like, because, you know, I mean, nowadays we're so jaded. But now if somebody came in from New Japan or into New Japan and came in and was like, oh, I'm here from Ring of Honor to present an award because of all the work you've done, and blah blah, and they threw salt in their eyes, you'd be like, oh man.
Not for nothing, I'm still waiting for the day that Nakamura does it.
He's too busy
punching people. Yeah, why is he punching people in the balls all the time? It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Saito's matches. I've seen enough. I mean, again, he's all over AWA. You can find it on YouTube. A lot of his highlights and stuff like that. But I think he's instantly recognizable to American audience and a big deal. He was arrested with Ken Patera for throwing that boulder through the McDonald's window in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And he had to do a year in jail for that. Him and Patera had to do a year in fucking jail. You can't throw a boulder and then beat up police officers and not get sent to jail. So, according to this, they did 2 years in prison for that. But I doubt that anyone was going to fuck with Patera and fucking Saito in fucking prison, though.
Right.
Because I mean that's ridiculous. Because those guys are fucking huge and legitimate.
No, definitely.
I mean, Saito was in the Olympics in 1964. He placed 7th. So, legitimate badass. He could have been in MMA. A lot of these old timers could probably have been in MMA, UFC fucking shit up. But I think Saito was one of them. Just a legit badass. So, Masa Saito dead at age 78. So, it's sad. It's sad when we say this all the time. It's sad to see people that you look up to and the heroes of the past start fading away. It's sad. And Parkinson's is such a fucked up disease, man. That was fucked up, man. That's some shit to go through, man. Next up, we're going to talk about the Hardy Boys documentary that was recently released. So, Matt, you watched this documentary. What are your thoughts on the Hardy Boy documentary?
I think it was very well done. It was very honest. There were things I forgot about, how much legal trouble they were in at various points.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of just honesty to it, which really made it powerful. Because I think part of it is you forget about all the injuries wrestlers get and how they have to deal with it, pain, being able to go. And I do think one of those lessons about why do they have to perform 300 plus days a year? It's just the body's not made for that. That's why there's injuries all the time. Because the more it's the more moonsaults you do, the probability of having something go wrong is going to go up. And I think one of the things that stood out to me was really random was that Matt Hardy's wife, Nia Jax.
Really?
That stood out to me too.
She was a wrestler. She wrestled.
I just think it was a very gripping documentary. Again, the low point of Jeff Hardy's career with the title change with Sting.
Oh yeah, I remember when that happened. It was fucking ridiculous. I legitimately thought that both were gonna die at various points. I watched those videos. He would post videos. Matt Hardy would post videos of the craziest shit, him eating grapes and him doing wild shit, and it was this motherfucker's gonna die.
Yeah,
both him and Jeff, and I think a lot of it has to do with it. They didn't touch on it in the documentary, probably for legal reasons, but. When they started wrestling, they haven't done anything else but be wrestlers. Jeff was doing jobs on TV at 16. Matt was 18. And if you watch, I believe it's King of the Ring 94, maybe 96. One of the King of the Rings, you see the two guys who are opening the door? Those were the Hardy Boys.
Right.
So they've been in the business forever, and this is the only business that they know. And I think it happens to a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes who they get to this level, but there's nothing grounding them. So you have all this celebrity, you have all this money, and there's nothing grounding you to the real world. So they go fucking crazy. We've seen it with teen stars who go crazy. It would be Lindsay Lohan or Britney Spears. They go fucking nuts, and I think this was a part of it. It doesn't help that all the injuries and all the risks that they took, with some of those nasty bumps that. Not for nothing, they had to be on pills.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to wrestle without them. And that goes more to the opiate crisis that's going on today and how bad it was. I mean, let's be honest here, folks. The reason that we have an opiate crisis is that the pharmaceutical companies were paying doctors to prescribe them. That's legitimate.
Right.
They were getting kickbacks. They used to give out Vicodins. I got Vicodins. I fucking sprained my ankle. Well, here's a fucking big thing of OxyContin. For a sprained ankle? Really?
Right.
Now there's people who are in car wrecks that have broken ribs and broken backs, and now they can't even get pills.
Right.
So it's a weird balance thing now. It's like, you know, the people who have chronic pain, what do? They can no longer get opiates, right? So what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and be fucking fucked up. The people who use them responsibly. Now, the people who are abusing, that's a whole other fucking story. Because, you know, it's a gateway drug to like heroin and some of the other shit. You know what I mean? And it's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. And I'm glad that the Hardy Boys are getting their stuff together, because I was very concerned that they were going to die. I was a fan. I was a big time Hardy guy, like when they first debuted. Like when they had Michael Hayes and all that shit. Like I was a big time Hardy guy. After a while, to me, they got kind of stale. And then when Matt did the Matt Hardy version 1.0 or 2.0 or whatever, I thought that was kind of lame. I think even some of the times that Jeff Hardy had won the WWE Championship, I thought that was also fucking lame as shit. I didn't like them anymore after a while. I don't know why, but I just didn't. But I like the broken stuff is fantastic. I think that's the best stuff they've done ever. So I know Jeff is back, but he seems to be injured or not really injured. I don't know what his status is, because we're getting reports that he's injured, but he's entering a feud with Randy Orton right now. And then Matt's, you know, hanging out with Bray Wyatt, so they're kind of split up.
Right.
And I'm curious to see what they're going to do going forward. So, but I definitely highly recommend the documentary if you haven't seen it. Definitely check it out. You get to see some TNA footage, which is nice, would be good once they do that AJ Styles documentary, so they can have all those AJ Styles matches. Kudos to the WWE for even acknowledging TNA and able to, you know, release out some of that footage. So, nice job overall. So next up, we're going to do our wrestler spotlight, and we're going to start with the Road Warriors.
Take a look and feast your eyes upon the two biggest cats walking this stinking rotten planet. You fat people sitting getting drunk, eating potato chips in front of a TV show, watching Happy Days. Look!
From Chicago, Illinois, the AWA Tag Team Champions of the world, this is the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
You figured it out yet? You took a good look? You see that mean animal? Well, we're not just like the average geek down the road, are we? No, we're a little different. Just a little. We brought up an overhearing. You're gonna try to teach us a lesson. You're gonna teach us a lesson? Well, what do you think this is? Proper road?
You're powerful. They come at you like a pair of pistons hammering all the time. Oh, they come in and pulverize your opponent. No chance for and he's still not moving.
Your wishbone is where your backbone should be. We found him, we knocked him down, and we beat him up. We rise to the occasion. You know we're the best, ain't that right, animal? Hey, I only have one thing to say. I don't care, he don't care, and Paul don't care either. You take a look at my brother Animal here, and you tell me who in the AWA could ever beat him or me in a legal manner, unless they had a gun.
Ooh, a knee left to the midsection twice. Didn't seem to phase the Hawk at all, did it? Says the Hawk.
You smell like a girl, but that's okay. We slap girls too. The Warriors are always the first one to put their name on the line, to wrestle, or beat the crap out of somebody. That's what we do best, ain't it, Hawk? Oh, it's easy. We like to beat people up.
Be ready to wrestle, fight, claw, and everything you can do when you're in there with these guys. I'm going to tell you right now. In that microphone, you were given a nose to breathe through so you could keep your mouth shut. Because they've come here for one reason, and that's to win, and they don't care.
As the Road Warriors and the Legion of Doom accept our rightful places on top of the wrestling world. And you people all know one thing. But there's two kinds of people on earth. There's weasels, and there's weasel slappers. And we're weasel slappers, and you're weasels. 275 pounds, 290 pounds, and a brain. It's Road Warriors 85, 86, Road Warriors forever. You're going down, I'm gonna break your little weasel. That's right.
So, Matt, what are your thoughts on the Road Warriors?
I enjoyed their work. My My close call with fame was that I could have gotten destroyed by them at the Boston Garden, but I passed on that because I was young and naive.
Because you didn't want to do a job on TV?
No, I was afraid of them just destroying me in the ring. And
they thought they were going to hurt you?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's you hear a lot of guys in the locker room, oh, those guys are a little rough. They don't care.
Oh, yeah, it was that reputation. It was the Road Warriors, Paris Saturn, and Kevin Sullivan. That rough job guys.
Yeah.
Take a look! I guess you've been killing one-line barbarian! We've been doing a little bit of bench pressing in the ring and bench pressing in the gym! We ain't playing around! We've built our reputation on being a couple of bad apples from Chicago, being the strongest men in professional wrestling, and we ain't gonna let you or anybody else try to ruin our reputation. All these people are gonna see Greensboro is not very long away. Who the strongest wrestlers are in the world? Tell them, Hawk. Tony Schiavone, don't you look swell today? Oh boy! Hey, listen up! There's been a lot of sports writers and sports editors flapping their yaps about us getting soft. Does this look soft to you, Paul? Does this look soft to you? Well, I'll tell you what. There's one part of our bodies that's soft, and it ain't soft all the time, if you catch my meaning. Ric Flair! New York City, Ric Flair! You're gonna find out what hard is all about, because from the time I get in the ring with you, Guppy, it's gonna be a hard night, all night long, and you can forget about your limousines, your pretty girls, and your diamond rings, because they don't mean diddly-do squat when I get done with you. When I get done with you, Space Mountain will be closed for repairs. Tell them, Paul.
You know, Tony Schiavone, I've heard Paul Jones talk, and it appears to me he has a monomaniacal obsession with the Legion of Doom. Well, there's two places I know you'll be able to find us. One is January 20th in Hawaii, and the next day is January 21st in LA. So if you're feeling froggy, Paul Jones, just jump in. You and your men, we're going to be in Hawaii, and LA will be looking for you.
Yeah, we snack on danger, and we dine on death.
Yeah. And we'll be right back.
No, I think that I enjoyed their work. I liked it a lot. I think they suffered from the Barry Windham, Lex Luger effect of holding off too long to give them the world tag titles.
Yeah, when they get the NWA world tag titles, was it, 80, 87, 88?
Yeah.
They got it late in their run. I guess the logic behind that would be, all right, if you put the belts on them, how you gonna get them off?
Right.
And I believe did they win them as heels? I think they won them as heels.
They did, yeah. They beat Midnight Express, I think.
Yeah, it was on a house show. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, that's when they put the fucking spike in Dusty's eye.
Right.
They got Dusty fired. That's ridiculous. You know, but the Road Warriors, they did start out in Georgia Championship Wrestling. That's the first time we saw them. They always get, the name is weird to me because it's always interchanged with the Legion of Doom, right? Legion of Doom being the villains from Super Friends.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
Right. But that was the name of the stable. So there was a stable. The Legion of Doom was a stable that had Jake Roberts and Spoiler, Paul Ellering, and the Road Warriors, right? That's the Legion of Doom. But they always kind of kept that. Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
Question about it. There will be wrestling tonight in Augusta, Georgia at the Civic Center, next Tuesday in Americus, Georgia, next Thursday in Columbus, Georgia.
You know, Gordon Soley, the only thing standing between the Legion of Doom and Bundy and Hansen and their wildest dreams of success is reality. Can you beat these two men, Bundy? Oh, you're a big man. You too, Stan Hansen. Probably the biggest, most formidable team to come down the pike. And you'll have your chance tomorrow night in the Omni. A chance that you better take advantage of, right, Hawk?
Hey, Hansen and Bundy, we're getting just a little more hateful and sick up here for you. We're gonna put the calls to you, boys, in the Omni.
Road Warriors have only... Tomorrow night at the Omni.
But, you know, they made a huge impact right away, you know, basically just no-selling everyone and destroying people. They did win the NWA National Tag Team Champions, which they won it in their debut. So they did win the title 3 more times. Eventually, they ended up leaving Georgia, ended up in the AWA.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, just moments after the Road Warriors' premiere appearance here in Chicago. They defeated Steve Ostanowski and Buck Rock and Roll Zumhoff, and as the ring announcer said, Precious Paul presents the combined weight of 565 pounds in the Road Warriors, and we're going to talk with their manager, Precious Paul. They certainly made a great showing for their first outing here in Chicago. Nothing is more certain than death and taxes. The Chicago Wind and the Road Warriors. Now the next time we're in Chicago, a big man, 450 pounds, King Kong Bundy, the country dancing, where's the beat? Well, Bundy, you're a very big and impressive man indeed. And we'll fight you all over the country. And in Chicago, Bundy, you bring a partner. And remember this, Bundy. Oh, yes, you fight great. But we're great fighters, Bundy. And no matter who you get, we say bring them on, one and all. Because you're looking at the two most vicious men in professional wrestling today. Tell them, Hawk, when we put the clothes to you, Bundy, it's going to be like nothing that ever happened in your life, brother. And we'll both press you 450 pounds in the air. And that'll be that. That'll be that. You can say that. Chicago, Bundy, you beat whoever you think you can. You beat the Warriors. Let me tell you something. Nobody beats the Warriors. When it comes right down to it, there's a lot of great wrestlers all over the country. But look at these two men, 22-inch arms, 56-inch chest, and I can guarantee it, if you weren't in Chicago and you didn't see them, you have never, ever seen anything like them in your whole life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time right now, and I want to tell you, be looking forward.
Like Road Warriors and the AWA, because AWA, and they always had good talent, but it always seemed like they were stuck in 1975 and everything was very bland. Then you have like the Road Warriors come in and really kind of stand out, and actually it really kind of helped their business in '84 when they lost Hogan. They didn't feel the effect of them losing Hogan because the houses did not go down because they brought in the Road Warriors.
Right.
But when they're going against like the Crusher and Bam Ravashki and that kind of shit, like those, like come on, guys. But they spent most of their time feuding with the Fabulous Ones. Those matches were fantastic. You know, Kern and Lane could really work. So, you know, those guys were fucking fantastic. It's funny because they kind of just started working with the NWA because you know they're doing Pro Wrestling USA, so they would feud with like the Russians every once in a while. They lost the AWA titles to Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal, Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, not the other Steve Regal. Yeah, you gotta be clear on that. But, you know, that's when they started using the Iron Man fucking entrance theme, which is fucking awesome. And that's where the term Road Warrior Pop comes out. Because they came out and the fucking crowd fucking exploded.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because they were fucking... You know, the question is, like, what made them over? Like, in your mind, what made them, like... Why did people gravitate to the Road Warriors?
I think because of the speed of the attack. It wasn't the traditional, like, walk to the ring. They charged in and just beat the hell out of people. And that's a fearsome thing. They look, you know, it was a combination of that.
Their first look was weird. They looked like they were hanging out at the Blue Oyster, you know, with the leather chaps and the fucking weird fucking hats and the thing. But once they got their spikes, I think that's when they elevated to a new level. And I think that's what really completed the look with the, you know, the face paint and they were insane. And I remember they were marketed in Japan like they came from outer space. Like, these are just two big-ass motherfuckers who just beat the shit out of you.
Right.
And, like, when they put him in a ring with, like... They put him in a ring with fucking Hansen. Hansen and Harley Race. And those guys just beat the shit out of each other. It was fucking fantastic. You know, it was a different type of wrestling. You know, it's like proto Goldberg. Short matches, the guy beat the shit out of the other guy, and they're instantly over. And I'm surprised they don't do that more. Especially with monster heels. They used to do that shit all the time. But now, like, everything's 50-50, and you win a match, lose a match, it doesn't really fucking matter. But when you have, like, kind of like the Road Warriors who comes in and just destroys people, You know, they fucking got up from a Jerry Lawler power driver.
Memphis, Tennessee. You know, the last time you people saw the two little weasels, Austin Idol, is that his name? I don't even know. And the kid, record names, Jerry Lawler. Well, they were lucky enough to come out with a tie with the Warriors. They cheap shot at us and they jumped in the ring, so we both got disqualified. Well, let me tell you people of Memphis, Tennessee, something else. Next, was it Monday or Tuesday? Monday, February 6th. You guys were in for the beating of your life. You got lucky with the disqualification last time, but next time the Warriors get a hold of you, haha, baby, these... What kind of numbers did you pay that referee? What kind of numbers, Lawler Idol? Paid him a few bucks under the ring or something, so you come out lucky. Well, let's check out a few other numbers since we're on the subject, like 23, 21, 58, and 60. What are you going to do with those numbers? Not too stinking much. When we get done with you two, it's going to look like we set your face on fire and put it out with an axe. What are you going to do to Mama then? Are you going to smile at her face? We don't have no mama. No. We don't care. I don't want a mama. But you can go cry to your mama. We don't cry. Because the Warriors never get beat.
You ever see that? You fucking Jerry Lawler fucking pile drove Hawk and you just stand back up and you see the whole crowd go, oh my god.
So many times they'd no-sell stuff and it's like, dude. But
that was the first time. That was the first time people started, like, that's the first time people did that. So when Lawler pile drove him, someone just got right back up, the whole crowd was like, holy shit. But it's like, unfortunately, there's nowhere for them to go after that. You know, because their matches, when they started working longer matches and having competitive matches, I think they kind of lost their luster a little bit.
Oh, sure. It exposed them. Like anybody, really, that rest of that kind of style, it's after a certain point, you're going to get, kind of run your gamut of your repertoire.
Yeah.
And then it's, okay, what's next?
So the Road Warriors end up going to Crockett in 86.
Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. You know, Tony Schiavone, in case you people forgot, we're the #1 seed in the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. Now I was back there in the control room, and I heard Jim Cornette here flapping his fat little jaws, telling everybody how stupid we are. And on the other TV screen was a Disney World commercial. I'll save Ric Flair on trouble, Cornette, and I'll name him right after you. It's a small world after all, so you and Tinkerbell can go float around together in fairyland. Now, one thing Tony Schiavone again, what separates us from every other tag team in the stinking world is, we don't care who we wrestle, whether it's Dr. Death, DiBiase, Buzz Sawyer, Magnum TA, the Koloffs, or the Midnight Express. We don't care because we feel confident we're going to walk all over everybody, and we do care about winning the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. Ain't that right, Paul?
You know, Tony Schiavone, Animal, hit a very important point here, and that is we can wrestle anybody in this tournament, and that's what the Legion of Doom is about. We're an island unto ourselves. We always have been, and we always will continue to be. Russians, what does not kill us only makes us stronger. Jimmy Cornette, you do a lot of talking, but it's your men who do the wrestling, and we know your tactic of trying to get all the attention focused on you, and you forget about your two men in the ring. They're the talent, they're the men, and we realize that. They're the best, they're the NWA champions. Right now, I hope we meet them in the tournament. Right, Hawk?
Hey, it's as simple as my brother said. The Road Warriors do what they say, and we're gonna do what we say. We want the cup worse than anything on earth, and we'll have it. And I'll tell you something else, Midnight Express, and that geek of a manager you got, y'all better get worried, because the Warriors are coming, and we want them belts. We want them bad, world belts. We're feeling a little naked around our waist. We get what we want. We do what we say.
The Legion of Doom. They do what they say.
They have the scaffold match with the Midnight Express, which is fucking fantastic. That's the one where like fucking Jim Cornette falls off the scaffold, blows out his knee because Big Bubba Rogers missed him. He's supposed to catch him, but he fucking missed him. Yeah, watch that again. He fucking tries to catch him, and he fucking falls right through his arms and fucking destroys his knee. Oops. Completely blows it out. So fucking scaffold matches, man. We'll talk about crazy bumps in a little bit. That's our next topic. But they stayed in the NWA/WCW until 1990 when they entered the World Wrestling Federation.
And I must say, Legion of Doom, you are hot on the trail of the Nasty Boys. If you caught the show last week, you may have seen them running a rampage throughout the building, pulling all kinds of nasty tricks. And Bobby Heenan.
I see Bobby found a new racket. You know something, Sean Mooney? Jimmy Hart's out here with the Nasty Boys. They like to humiliate everybody. They say they're going to try to run interference with the natural disasters. Well, that's just fine with us, because we specialize in beating up big guys. And you Nasty Boys, no matter where it is, sometime, somehow, we're going to humiliate you by beating you real quick for the WWF titles. Right, Hawk? Nasty Boys! Breathe deep the gathering gloom. For the ones who gather the gloom are the Legion of Doom. And the gloom is soon to be yours. All of yours. Because you're looking at gloom from the Legion of Doom. And you know that time is of the essence. We can't wait for it to happen. And you don't want it to. But I can understand that. It's simple. Because you don't want to do what we want you to do. But you're going to. And by the time you do it, we'll have reduced you to a soggy pile of fly-covered, soiled undies.
A couple things. They changed their name from the Road Warriors to the Legion of Doom, which is okay. But they come in right away and they feud with Demolition. Now, Demolition, obviously, to everyone who was looking, was a Road Warrior ripoff. There was a lot of them. A lot of Road Warrior ripoffs. But Demolition being the most, the most successful out of all. The Powers of Pain was like another one. The team of Dan Spivey and Scott Hall, that was another Road Warrior ripoff that didn't get over.
Yes.
But Demolition did. So they put him right. They put him right with Demolition and basically just manhandled and destroyed Demolition. Which I think hurt Ultimate Warrior, by the way, because the Ultimate Warrior spent the second half of his title reign being the sixth man in a six-man feud with the Road Warriors and Demolition.
Right,
Which means, it was ridiculous.
Both sides of this fantastic main event happening tonight at the Boston Garden finding it very difficult to be patient for this matchup. Demolition. They tangle with the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, and the Ultimate Warrior. Let's hear from that awesome force.
Everybody in the WWF knows what the LOD and the Ultimate Warrior are gunning for. And that's you, Demolition. You know, Demolition, there's an easy way out of every predicament. Perhaps you jump in front of a Mack truck, jump off a bridge, catch a plane, make a train. Maybe you'll get real stinking lucky, and you'll flare up. Human spontaneous combustion. Oh, what a rush! Tell him, big man. Demolition! What seems to be the problem here? Since you lost your titles at SummerSlam, you have not been the same in your head. What's the matter, Demolition? Are you losing the edge? Are you losing your grip? Well, we hope you're mad. We hope you're angry. We want you, Demolition, the Hawk, the Animal, and the Ultimate Warrior. You, Demolition, have never been the same as the Legion of Doom and the Ultimate Warrior. You deserve not to breathe the same atmosphere that we walked in. You have been walking close to the edge. Now you hang on the edge. With the Legion of the Doom, with the Warriors, the Doomers, we're gonna kick you off the edge into the darkness, deep into the darkness, to the places you fear most. With these two and the Warriors I bring, you, Demolition, will feel nothing but
World Wrestling Federation champion, the Ultimate Warrior, set to join forces with the Legion of Doom. Together they are determined to silence Demolition once and for all. They'll have their chance tonight at the Boston Garden.
Well, they were there for a whole year before they won the tag belts. Because they didn't win the belts until SummerSlam 91. They're there for a whole fucking year. So it might have been too late for them at that point. And then, they're probably eventually faded. I mean, they're only there for 2 years, but they tried a couple of things. They tried to bring Paul Ellering back. They did the stupid gimmick with Rocco, the fucking puppet, and that kind of stuff. And they never were able to capture that appeal that they had like in 86, 87, and 88. They would end up going to New Japan. They come back to WCW for a little bit. They come back to the WWF as Road Warrior, as Legion of Doom 2000. And that's where, like, they start getting embarrassed. Like, the New Age Outlaws would fucking cut their fucking hair, and they stole the fucking pads from the spikes from them. And they really kind of embarrassed them. And they did the whole thing where fucking Hawk was drunk and he'd fall off the Titantron. Like, that shit was fucking stupid, man.
Right.
And, they quietly just kind of just went away for a while. They had one last appearance on WWE TV in 2003, where they wrestled the tag team champions of Rob Van Dam and Kane. Did not get a full-time contract, and essentially, Hulk would pass away five months later. And then Animal would come back, teaming with Heidenreich as LOD 2005.
Oh.
It's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Animal would continue for a while. He wrestled in Japan. And, he ended up in the Hall of Fame. The Road Warriors, they were put in the Hall of Fame in 2011 with Paul Ellering. Although Animal, I think we talked about it in the show, every once in a while we'll say some wild shit on Twitter. I'm like, Animal, you need to relax, homie. But he's all right. I wonder if his son just retired from football. I wonder if he's going to get into wrestling. James Laurinaitis, he was a linebacker for the... is he retired? Oh, maybe not.
I think he's still around. I think he played for the Rams, and he played for, Cincy maybe?
Saints. But he hasn't played since 2016.
Oh, oops. There you go. NXT.
Yeah. Yeah, he retired. James Laurinaitis retired in 2017. So maybe we might see a new Road Warrior if he's interested. He's an analyst on Sports Time Ohio. Good for you. But I like to see him as a wrestler. There's one. I saw this picture. It's Animal and like Rams uniform, and it's James with the Road Warrior spikes in the paint. And I thought it was fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good football player. So that's the Road Warriors in a nutshell. Next up, we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorites, Playboy, Buddy Rose.
Well, in action shortly, the Army with the General.
Bottomer, did I pick the right woman? Did I pick it?
After we were off the air.
After we went off the air, I picked the right woman. I know everything. I'll tell you something else. They can't stop JR, and they can't stop Buddy Rose. Buddy Rose has formed an army. Jay Youngblood has formed an army. So what we're having coming down to now is who is the toughest men in the Northwest. Cortez, Destroyer, Oliver, myself, we are all considered true champions. My championship, being a champion, you call the shots. When they asked Ali who he wanted to fight, he said, they asked Duran, he says, I should say two, Owens, but no, Boyd's trying to be a thorn in my side. Well, Boyd, you're not going to get your way. I'm going to get my way this time.
I don't know what these Indians trying to do, form an army. I never seen an Indian army before, but here's this Jay Youngblood. He come out here. He's got his partner, Joe Lightfoot. He's got this Buzzsaw Kane. He's got this Johnny Boyd. All these guys, they think they can take on an army like this. They got to be crazy.
That's right, Youngblood. We are going to finish with the main chief of the army tonight, and that's Jay Youngblood, and we're going to break his neck. Buzzsaw Kane, you got a good body, you got a lot of potential, but you're making one mistake. If you were on my side, you'd be making the big bucks, brother. You're making a bad mistake hanging around with the French Poodle and the Bulldog and that short man, Johnny Boyd, that I can eat bowls of soup off his head. I'll put 10 grand on the line if the man stands 5'10". He don't go over 5'7", right, Cortez?
Yeah, that's right. Like I said before, if you want to talk about Buzzsaw, everything in their horns and body, but up here, ooh.
When I speak, people listen. The Destroyer, Oliver Cortez, Buddy Rose, J.R. Ewing, hallelujah, nobody can stop us.
That's the Army.
And
here's the sponsor, Tom Peterson.
So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Buddy Rose?
I liked Buddy Rose. He was a fun guy, and I know he was a very girthy competitor.
Yes.
But I
think he's like one of those guys like Adrian Adonis, who he handled his weight well and was able to do like really good bumps and was really good working, even though he was probably like 50 pounds overweight.
I will tell you, I think maybe the first live show I ever went to was at my high school. I was like in 8th grade, I think, a local high school where I grew up. And Buddy Rose was one of the main event stars, and he wrestled somebody whose name I could not recall right now. But it would have been like 86, 87, maybe 85.
Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter was the main event fighting the Mad Russian, so it may have been an AWA type show. I don't know. But
if Buddy Rose and Slaughter were there, it may have been an AWA show.
There was a U.S. Express, but I remember being disappointed because it wasn't Barry Windham and Mike Hunt. It was two other random dudes. But Buddy Rose, during the show, we were in the bleachers. And there's a foreshadowing. I was the loudest guy there, probably.
Of course.
I kept screaming for pile driver. And towards the end of the match, he hit him with a knee lift, looked right at our group, pointed at me, nodded, and then pile drove to win the match. It was just awesome. And this is back when he was just dumpy, not really super fat. So it was
Well, he got super fat when he did the blow-away diet and stuff, like in 1990 WWF.
Yeah. I always liked his work. I think one of my favorite matches ever is most people are always like, favorite matches? I'm like, oh, yeah. Rockers versus Buddy Rose and Doug Summers.
Yeah.
I think it's the Showboat Casino.
The Bloodbath one or the Cage?
Bloodbath one.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
Because it just goes on, and it's so crazy, and it's so bloody. And this was ESPN daytime, like back in early 90s or whatever, 80s, I guess, they played it. But it was a phenomenal feud. They played their part so well. The tag team wrestling was so well executed that it really stood out.
I think that's what made the Rockers like a commodity, was that match.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was after they were fired from WWF the first time, or that was before they entered in WWF. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might have been before they went in, because they went in for like 2 weeks and got fired like right away.
Yeah.
For doing stupid shit. Buddy Rose was trained by Vern Gagne and Billy Robinson, so he's part of that famous, the famous camp. With, not the one with Flair and Steamboat, but he was there with Sergeant Slaughter.
We got a little problem here in the Northwest. My partner, Edwin Skowski, had a mishap in the family, and he had to fly home because his dad is in bad shape in a hospital in St. Joe, Missouri. So Edwin Skowski's not going to be here for a while. Now, I took Mantell as my partner, and we are going to wrestle you, Star and Adonis, for those belts. And another thing, Roddy Piper, you got too big a mouth. There's not enough room in the Northwest for you and I, and only one of us is going to stay. And you say that you want to wrestle me? Well, Edwin Skowski will not be here Tuesday night, so I do not want to wrestle Roddy Piper. Because for some reason, something might happen such as, this is my interview, boy. This is my interview. You don't have no business up here.
Say Roddy Piper.
Wiskowski's not here. Brooks is not here. Well, let's see who has enough guts. Sign a contract. I'll wrestle you Tuesday right here in Portland. Who's got enough guts? I'll do it. I'll do it. Well, I'm not going to do it. You'll do it. I don't care who you're wrestling. For me, Tuesday. Piper? You know what happened to Brooks? The same thing is gonna happen to you. I'll wrestle you. I'm not afraid. I crippled Ventura, Johnny Floyd, Jay Youngblood. The list goes on, Hector Guerrero, and you're gonna be crippled too. I don't need nobody in my corner. You haven't got Killer Brooks. I haven't got Ed Wiskowski. So it'll be just you and I, because I'm not afraid. I've got guts. You see my guts right there. I got guts. to show you, Piper. You will never see that battle royal yourself.
Primarily worked in Portland, feuding with Roddy Piper. Did have a couple of main events with Bob Backlund for the WWF World Title. It's probably Backlund's best title defenses, by the way. So go out of your way to see those matches with him and Rose in 82 and 83. Like, they're fantastic.
The Portland Sports Arena will see this Tuesday night Playboy Buddy Rose square off against a man making what he hopes to be a triumphant return this Tuesday night after a 2-year absence, Roddy Piper, a man that's likely to give you a run for your money, Mr. Rose.
There's a reason for this, and the Wiz will tell you what that is. My manager, the Wizard, I introduce you people to him now.
You have a so-called champion that answers to the name of Ric Flair, who deliberately got himself disqualified to save his belt, and now he sends in stooge number 1, Roddy Piper. Well, Roddy, let me tell you, on my behalf and on Buddy's, you're going to be playing your bagpipes from a different when Buddy Rose gets done with you.
That's right. Piper, now you make your return. Now you want a championship match with Ric Flair. Well, I have found out that the winner of this match will get to meet Ric Flair in the near future in the Portland Sports Arena. Well, let me tell you something, Roddy Piper. You've been gone for a long time, and the Playboy's never left. He's still there. I leave, but I still come back. But you didn't come back. You let your people down. Do you think they're going to back you up now? They forgot who Roddy Piper is. They don't know who Roddy Piper is. We'll find out when we walk in that squared circle. We'll see if your fans still back you up. But they won't. Buddy Rose and Roddy Piper are going to meet once again, and the winner will meet Ric Flair and Piper. It's going to be a fight, but I'm not going down no more.
They may not recognize Roddy's pipe face, but they sure will by smell.
The Grand Wizard, along with Playboy Buddy Rose, Mr. Rose, locking up with Roddy Piper. It'll be this Tuesday night at the Portland Sports.
He was also in WrestleMania 1 as the Masked Executioner, and he lost Tito Santana in the opening match of the first WrestleMania. So there you go.
What a pleasure it is, this pit here, to have a couple of fellas that, first of all, don't smell and don't come from Kentucky. Bobby the Brain Heenan and a fella I know him for a while, Buddy Rose, Playboy. I wonder, did you see the last pit that I did? Did you see the hillbilly that came on? The one that held the microphone like
Yeah, I saw that. I wonder where Ellie Mae and Jed Clamp and the rest of the Beverly Hillbillies are. You know what amused me about the guy? You ask him his name. Now, his mother and father had 9 months to come up with a name, and they come up with Big Jim.
There's nothing there, right? You're talking old Duke laying down on the carpet, and there's nothing.
I like when you said, "Where are you from?" And he scratched his head. 19 things flew out of his hair, and he said, "Kentucky." Oh, he's with it.
Oh, yo, Bill.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks here.
This guy here is Ace. He's my bodyguard.
I know Ace. He does a heck of a job. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. The man sitting with me here is Playboy Buddy Rose. Him and I go back a long way. You're probably wondering how we got put together. Well, he's from Las Vegas. I'm from Beverly Hills. Every time I used to go to Las Vegas, he'd introduce me to Cher, Suzanne Summers, Diana Ross, all the big names, and they come to him to meet me. Now, this is an extraordinary athlete. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, you talk about Big Jim. You want to talk about, you call me fat boy. You say that I'm out of shape. Well, I'll show you what kind of shape I'm in right now.
What you going to do?
I'd like to see Big Jim or any of you people do that.
Look at that, one-handed.
One-handed, all right.
I'm like,
beautiful. I could have done 100 of them, but we haven't got enough time.
Went to the AWA again, having fantastic tag team matches with tag team partner Doug Summers and with the Midnight Rockers over the AWA World Title. Came back in the WWF in 1990. He was doing that blowaway fucking diet gimmick, which was ridiculous.
You've tried and tried and tried, but no matter what, you still can't lose weight. But change is in the air. It's the Playboy Buddy Rose Blowaway Diet Plan, and it makes losing weight a breeze. Here's how it works. Unlike other diet plans that restrict your caloric intake, the Blow-Away diet lets you eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Forget about strenuous exercise. Say goodbye to messy diet drinks. And never count another calorie. Because with Blow-Away, you simply shake on the patented Blow-Away powder, sit in front of an ordinary household fan, and blow the weight away. Want an extra piece of cake? Go ahead! Thinking about that extra pound of butter? No problem! Because with Blow-Away, you blow away unwanted fat just like that! Blow away your way to a tighter tummy, blow away your way to thinner thighs, and blow away your way to a firmer fanny in seconds with factory-formulated Blow-Away! This was Playboy Buddy Rose before, but with Blow-Away, he lost this much ugly fat! Now he's a slim, trim 217 pounds. He looks great, and he feels great, too. The Blow-Away diet is not available in any store. You can only get it through this special TV offer. Here's how to order.
To order Blow-Away, have your Means and MasterCard ready and call 1-500-LARDASS. That's 1-500-LARDASS. Call now!
They really didn't do nothing with him at that point. They were just, kind of lower card, guy, not really doing. But he can still go. He can still work. After that, he was, he worked in the radio after that, and he was a manager in the revival of Portland Wrestling, and wrestled a couple times. Wrestled the Wrestling Union 2005 in Tampa. He teamed with Colonel De Beers and Bob Orton Jr. against Jimmy Valiant, Roddy Piper, and Jimmy Snuka. So, basically retired at that point, but he continued to make personal opinions and open up a training school with Colonel De Beers in Portland. Unfortunately, he passed away in April of 2009. Basically, to natural causes. I mean, he had good problems with his blood sugar and diabetes because he did put on so much weight. So, let that be a lesson to you guys. It's like, you got to take care of your body. You can't get big. I got to lose some weight myself. But that was Buddy Rose in a nutshell. Fantastic performer, good promo, good worker. I think he was underutilized in the WWF and never really had a run like at Crockett or UWF. And I'm curious about why. Like, I thought, like, in UWF, they would have loved him in UWF. Like, as a heel, they would have fucking loved him. And even as a heel for Crockett, he would have been fantastic. But they never used him. He did the gimmick where he's 317 pounds, but he would be billed at a slim and trim 217 pounds, which is a nice heel touch for his entrance. So those are fantastic. So that's Buddy Rose in a nutshell. Next up, we're going to talk about wrestling's most dangerous spots. So, Matt, what are some of your, I guess, I wouldn't use the word favorite, but what are some of the most dangerous spots you've ever seen?
Oh, God. There's so many ECW table spots off the balcony.
Let's group that together. Anything that involves New Jack and jumping off the balcony is fucking ridiculous and should never be done. And fucking New Jack lost vision in one eye because Vic Grimes fell on top of him. And then he tried to murder fucking Vic Grimes on a XPW show where he fucking threw him off a scaffold. Like he tried to throw him into the fucking ring post from the scaffold and tried to kill him. But he missed and he went through the tables.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, the other night we saw Kevin Owens get tossed off the cage by Braun Strowman.
Yeah. Was that necessary for that match, you think?
Well, honestly, I was watching it, and the match was kind of boring.
And plus no blood in the cage, too. So you think that's a substitute for blood?
Maybe. I remember the days when a cage match meant blood. Yeah. Which is how it was.
Because we see the spot with Shane McMahon. So you think those crazy spots are... Do you think those spots are the replacement for blood now?
I do, in a lot of ways. I mean, it's just they go with the extreme. And here's the thing that I think they always miss the point. You see them do it every so often, where they obviously do some sort of thing like they fall off a great height and they fall into like a black covered area.
Yeah, there's a pad there.
Yeah, with today's technology and stunt work, you can completely make. He could have fallen through the tables and like had a quote unquote severe injury. Whatever. You can make it look more severe than it is.
Wasn't he back on TV the next day?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see him.
I think he was. No, I don't think he had no neck brace or nothing.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing you want to sell anyways, but that's just old school style.
Like, even when Mick Foley was thrown from the top of the Hell in a Cell, which is probably the most not only the most dangerous spot, but the most memorable spot of all time. Those two bumps, the one where Taker dumps him through the cell and then again chokeslam through the cage, are probably the most memorable, fucking risky spots. And fucking Mick was legitimately hurt. He fucking separated his shoulder. Yeah, I know he had a concussion. One of his teeth fell out and fucking came through his nose.
Right.
I'm sure he had ruptured something internally for internal bleeding because he's spitting up fucking blood. That was probably the most vicious fucking spot.
Oh my god!
In the history of wrestling, I mean, I think it's more. That was more dangerous because he took that shit head first too. That first one.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking ridiculous. Like that's more dangerous than any kind of scaffold spots that we've seen, and we've seen a couple of those. We just talked about the fucking Cornette one.
Yeah.
But, some of those, it's fucking dangerous shit. That is fucking dangerous shit. I like good wrestling, and I like a dangerous spot if it means something, but don't just do them just to do them.
Well, I'll give you an example. I think one of the most overrated, overblown, overused spots is this stupid run across the ring, jump over the top rope, and dive on through people that don't catch you anyways. It's just,
you have Sasha Banks landing on her face half the time.
I mean, if you want to talk about bad spots or dangerous spots, I used to watch AAA all the time, and they must have had at least one spot a week where I thought somebody was dead.
Yeah.
Like, Aerostar doing a stupid move where it's like he's launching himself backwards out of the ring towards the floor, back first. Like, dude, no. Like, there's just no need for it. And that's what these guys get crippled up and broken down by 25, 30.
Yeah.
You know, it's just there's no need to do such a risky spot when...
It's one thing if you do it at WrestleMania, where you have 70,000 people there. Like, that's a little bit more... Like, some of the Hardy spots at WrestleMania, like Jeff doing the Swanton off the top of the ladder. Like,
right.
And they've done it a couple times since, but I don't think it meant as much as the first time him doing it. Because every time you do those things again, it loses its luster a little bit, and it's like diminishing returns on every time you kind of do one of those spots. So, you know, even like that Roman and Brock through the cage, that spear through the cage, like that's pretty ridiculous if you think about it.
Right.
Because they hit the floor. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think one of my favorite dangerous spots is not a real spot. It was Manny Fernandez in Vader #3 when he fucking lands with the fucking D and he starts shooting fucking blood out of his mouth.
That's actually, I have a clip of that on YouTube where it's called Manny Fernandez Kills Invader 3.
Yeah.
And people would chime in like, that's fake, or that's what, like, he's gushing blood. However they did it, it looked awful. And
he drank the blood and threw it up.
Yeah. But it is a beautiful spot. Like I was saying, like earlier before the show started, about the Randy Orton Jeff Hardy spot last night where he grabbed his earlobe.
Yeah.
And he was going to try to pull it off, whatever. And I was like, okay, are they going to do this on live? Like, are they going to really do this? Like, I thought, well, maybe, they're going to sell whatever, but it was cringe. Like, you were cringing as an audience, and that's what you want. You want the audience buying in, and it's Randy Orton, my God, he's lost his mind. The man's got a family. I just really feel that we lose a lot of the luster in wrestling because of the overuse of the big spots in every friggin' match.
Yeah.
So you have a dive out of the ring onto the floor in the opening match. You save that. Like build up to it. And it just, to me, you build it up. People are yawning at like topes and planches and shooting star express. Whatever. Whatever. That's my.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's way too dangerous. Number one, I don't want to see these guys getting hurt. I don't want someone to get legitimate hurt for my entertainment because that makes me feel bad, right?
Right.
But if you're going to do that, like, don't do it on a random pay-per-view in the middle of fucking, July for no fucking reason. It makes no damn sense. Play it up. If someone gets thrown through the top, if someone takes a 20-foot fall through a table, they need to be out for a month.
What it really should do is if someone needed a week off, like a month off, there's your spot, and like let's say they weren't hurt, they needed a month off, they were going on vacation with their family, getting married, whatever.
That's what they used to do in Mid-South. So in Mid-South, the guys would constantly go to Japan, so someone would break their arm all the fucking time. So you knew if someone had a broken arm in Mid-South, they were going to Japan for like 3 weeks.
Nice.
Well, they don't do that anymore. They don't like, someone gets a legitimate injury, they don't work it into an angle or nothing. They're just like, oh, he's hurt.
Well, like look at I will say the rare exception was Kane the other night.
Yeah.
they had the injury angle where they had, he broke his ankle, whatever it was, and who knows what really is going on with his leg, but whatever. At least they kind of incorporated it into the story.
What the fuck are they doing with Daniel Bryan? They're fucking this whole shit up.
Well, they did last night, last night, with The Miz doing the funeral for Hell No.
Yeah.
That was fun. But they're kind of like, if they're going to give us Miz versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, okay, but really build it up, guys. Don't fuck this up. Do not fuck this up, because what you have on your hands is potentially the hottest babyface in the fucking planet, maybe in the history of wrestling. And I'm not fucking being over dramatic. I'm talking legitimate. This guy was not allowed to wrestle, and you have all this pent up. He's our guy, and you're squandering it. You're throwing it away for no reason. He's just another wrestler. Yeah.
He should come back and he should be in main event feuds. He should have done that feud with The Miz right fucking away, and then he goes right into the fucking title picture. And then the moment at WrestleMania is the guy who come back from enormous odds. He was told he was never going to be able to wrestle again to win the title at WrestleMania. That's the fucking story. It's not fucking hard. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with Daniel Bryan. I think they're squandering this opportunity for one of the biggest comebacks and biggest babyface wins in the history of wrestling, and I think they're just fucking it up. So I don't know what these guys' problem is. They can't write anything. Everything they write is trash. I'm sorry. I'm usually pretty positive and upbeat because I love the WWE's current roster, but their writing is just trash.
Right.
It makes me not want to watch, but I still watch on occasion because I can't watch it all. It's just it's too long. Nothing makes any sense. There's nothing captivating me. There's nothing pulling me in. I love NXT, so I watch that. I love NXT. I like Major League Wrestling. I like what they're doing in the NWA. Ring of Honor right now. And then I like Japan. I like New Japan. Again, if you don't like something, don't watch it, I guess. But, I always trying to check in and kind of hoping, let's see if it's good. And I get disappointed every single time. So it makes me sad. Next up, we're going to talk about Ring of Honor at MSG. They finally sealed the deal. They were being blocked by the WWE, and looked like that show wasn't happening, but now that show is going down. So I don't know the particulars of this, but it is marketed, it is promoted. Tickets go on sale in August for Ring of Honor at MSG. Half the card's going to be New Japan guys, too, by the way. So that's going to be pretty dope. Again, it's the first time that they had a wrestling outside of WWE and Madison Square Garden at this current location ever. There were some shows prior to this at the other location before they moved it. But it's been a long time. The McMahons have had a stranglehold at Madison Square Garden for seemingly ever. And this is the first time that's another company is running MSG proper. Now, it's going to go up against NXT TakeOver at the Barclays. So I have a choice to make. Do I go to NXT at the Barclays, or do I go to Ring of Honor and the Garden? I'm going to pick Ring of Honor at the Garden because I'm not going to get an opportunity to go to All In, unfortunately. And this show is making history. Now, I've been to takeovers at the Barclays, and number one, I fucking hate the Barclays, number one, as the venue. It fucking sucks. It blows. It's almost as bad as Nassau Coliseum. Nassau Coliseum, they have their seats so low, so if you have any height on you whatsoever, you're going to be completely uncomfortable the entire show. Just keep that in mind when you go. The bad thing about the Barclays is a lot of obstructed views seats.
Yeah.
You're trying to watch it and a giant fucking pole in front of your face. Yeah, that happens a lot at the Barclays because of the way it's designed. But overall, I'm looking forward to this show. I think it's about fucking time. Now, the WWE doesn't run the Garden all too often, maybe 3 or 4 times in the year. They don't do any kind of TV or pay-per-views from there in such a long time. That I'm glad that the Ring of Honor is kind of stepping up. They're getting some money behind it. They're co-promoting the show with New Japan Pro Wrestling, whose goal now is to go global. You can see that by their champions right now, that they're trying to expand to have a global audience and a global view. So I'm very, very excited about Ring of Honor at the Garden during WrestleMania weekend. Matt, what are your thoughts on Ring of Honor in the Garden?
Excited about it. That's gonna be awesome. I really feel that, like you said, they're not running shows there. So if you're not gonna run a show, we're gonna put somebody in who is.
Yeah. And running the Garden, first of all, is not cheap. I don't think Sinclair Broadcast is looking to make money on this show. I think they're looking about more of the as a staple, as a signal that they're going for it. I'm sure the front row will be populated with, Sinclair, upper management's going to be there. It's something you can point to. It's like when WCW used to run shows at big venues, you would see like all their executives like in the front row. I think it's going to be like that. I think it's to make a statement here. With the possibility of them acquiring WPIX in New York and WGN out of Chicago, which are super stations, that can be a really big deal moving forward. Now, I argue with people with Twitter a lot. I don't know why. But for me, they're trying to tell me that it doesn't matter if Ring of Honor has TV in New York, which, here you can get it, but you can't get it. It's kind of difficult. That they're going to sell at the Garden regardless. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. We got to see, first of all, how pricey these fucking tickets are, because they're going to go quick. And they're going to be expensive as fuck. We know this, number one. Number two, yes, you're having an influx of wrestling fans. At least 90,000 coming in for that WrestleMania. But they're going to have to split time between those indie shows and that takeover. Now, is there enough people to sell out both the Barclays and the Garden the same night? Yeah, possibly. But we'll see. We'll see. There's still a big, especially for WrestleMania, people don't understand it. They think it's all smart marks or hardcore fans that go to WrestleMania. That's not true. It's 70 to 90,000 people, with the majority of those fans are casual fans. I've been to multiple WrestleManias. I'm not sitting next to smart marks.
Right.
It's kids with their parents. It's like your 13-year-old kid who don't know nothing, who's cheering for John Cena. There's a lot of those fucking kids there.
Yeah.
And I know it's like I understand that WrestleMania weekend is like wrestling Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I'll be going to the WrestleCons and all that other shit too. But it's yet to be seen if they're going to be able to sell the Garden. I hope they do. I can hope I get a ticket. It's the Garden. My grandfather went to the Garden in the 70s. It's important. Every time you go in the Garden, you feel it. You feel how special it is. You feel the ghosts of the past.
Yeah.
And it's one of those special places in terms of professional wrestling, especially for me. Especially because it's family. It's home. I've been to multiple shows there. The ambiance, the feeling you get when you go there, it's like nothing you'll ever feel, for me personally. Now, again, you get the Boston Garden over and by UMatt, and I know there's Louisville Gardens, and I know there's, the LA Arena, the Forum. I know there's other venues, the Omni before it got turned down. The Garden is still the Garden. The best perform there. So, I'm happy to see Ring of Honor in there. Hopefully they expand they've been doing it right. They haven't pulled a Turner on this where they try to expand too fast and they fuck everything up. They're going very, very slowly.
Right.
And they own a lot of networks, and Ring of Honor's on all their networks. So it's in places that you normally wouldn't see wrestling like that unless it was WWF. So this is, for a lot of people, the only alternative, although TNA has been doing better as of late, but I don't trust TNA because every time I start watching TNA, they do something stupid, so I don't want to jinx it. Do not want to jinx it. I like the fact that Homicide and Hernandez are back. It was fucking awesome. I was very happy to see that, but still not enough to get me to watch the shows on a consistent basis. I'd rather watch Major League Wrestling. Alright, guys, so we are officially out of time. So, for